Hey guys, because of time constraints, we were not able to get our entire lesson in. And so I wanted to give you guys some information that will help you succeed on doing your homework. If you are looking at your Algebra 1 book, you're on page 132, all right? And we're at activity, what are the constraints, okay? So first off, a constraint is something that limits what is possible or reasonable in a situation. So what I just said in the very beginning is my constraint was time, right? We had a half a day on Friday, and so we weren't able to get to it. On Thursday, my class for algebra, you guys had a longer class period, but I didn't want you guys to have the same material. I wanted you guys to have the same material as the other class. So we had something called a time constraint. It was something that limited our possible or reasonable in that situation. For example, one constraint in that pizza party situation might be the number of slices each person could have, which we could call S. We can write that S has to be less than 4, so nobody can have more than 3 slices of pizza, okay? Each person gets fewer than 4 slices of pizza. So that's a constraint. Another part of the constraint, a limitation on the possible values of variables in a model, often expressed by an equation or inequality, or by specifying that the value must be an integer. For example, distance above the ground, d in meters, might be constrained to be non-negative, right? You can't be, if you're above the ground, you probably can't be a non-negative, or you can't be a negative number. So it has to be non-negative numbers. So it could be expressed, d is greater than or equal to 0, okay? You are 0 meters above ground, or you are a half a meter above ground, or you're 100 meters above ground, but you cannot be -2 meters above ground. That does not make sense. So our constraint here is d has to be greater than or equal to 0. So now we're moving into like question number 1. It says, look at the expression that you wrote when planning the pizza party earlier. Choose an expression that uses one or more letters. Now, each class was different, so I'm just going to kind of pretend, I'm going to just create my own scenario here. It says choose an expression that uses one or more letters. So for question number 1, we might use something like 4c plus 4t. Okay, that's our expression, where c in this case is going to equal the money, or cost, per, and I apologize with the pen, per cheese pizza, okay? Whereas t, and let me box this so it's separate, where t is going to be the cost per 1 topping pizza. 1 topping pizza, all right? So we could say 4 times the cost. That means that we ordered 4 pizzas, 4 cheese pizzas, and 4 1-topping pizzas, and we had to multiply both of them by their existing cost. Now, for each letter, determine what value would be reasonable. For instance, could the value of a non-whole number be an answer? Could a number greater than 50 be an answer? Could we have a negative number? So here, we're talking about C, and if we're talking about the cost per cheese pizza, could it be a non-whole number? Yeah, it could be like $4.50, which is not a whole number. Could it be greater than 50? Sure, technically it could be greater than 50, but I know that business would not be in business if you're charging $50 per pizza. I mean, that's got to be one heck of a pizza. So that's probably not reasonable. And then it says a negative number, all right? Well, we can't have a negative cost for a pizza, okay? So we need to make sense. What do we think a cost of a pizza, a cheese pizza might be? And I think one of my classes says $8. So we needed to say that, C has to be less than or equal to 8, but also has to be greater than